Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, whatever the hell you want to call yourselves, we are back. Hope you enjoyed my rant from the previous video. If you didn't, click here to watch my rant. Also, remember, subscribe, click here. Alright, so let's talk about the Emerson Commander and Mini Commander. As you can see, we have the full-size Emerson Commander here and the Mini-Com or Mini Commander right here. Let's get the generalities out of the way. Let's go the overall specifications. Overall, this knife is 8.75 inches. We have a 3 1/4 inch blade with a 5 inch handle. On the Mini Commander, we have 8 inches overall. We have a 3 1/2 inch blade with a 4 inch handle, 4 1/2 inch handle. Both blades are 0.125 blade stock thickness, as you can see right there. They're the same thickness for both blades. They are both made out of 154 cm with a Rockwell hardness, obviously, of 57-59. The approximate weight on the Commander is 5.8 ounces, while the approximate weight on the Mini Commander is only 3.8 ounces, so you have a 2 ounce difference. That, of course, is going to take into fact that you do not have milled liners on either of these knives. So that weight for the extra size here in the handle is going to, and the blade is going to make up that 2 ounce difference. So you can see I just have some little very simple lanyards on here. I like them. They make retracting and extracting the knife from my pocket much easier, in my opinion. As you can see, the deployment on these is the wave feature. You can see on this one, it has a disc thumb stud, disc deployment stud. You can see on this one, the poor little screw finally cracked off. This one is much older than that one. So this one will be getting sent back soon to Emerson to have that fixed. I really have come to love the Emerson wave feature. I think it's just an absolute spectacular way to deploy your knife without needing to have an auto or worrying about any of the failures that can occur by having an auto. So it's kind of my opinion. Take it for what it is. The Emerson wave feature is probably one of the coolest features that has been designed on a knife in the last 30 years, in my opinion. It's really cool how Ernie Emerson explains how he kind of came up with the wave feature, how the wave came into existence. He was a knife designer making knives out of his garage, basically, and he was designing a knife for one of the SEAL teams. And they told him, you know, they needed something, some kind of little feature as a knife catch. So if they were in a knife fight or something and a knife came up over, it wouldn't come past the blade and cut into their hand. So he designed a little hook to catch that with. He was about 90 minutes away from the Naval Warfare Base. And they came up, a couple guys from the SEAL team came up, picked up the prototype. They told him it's exactly what they were looking for. And about 90 minutes later, he pulled his prototype out of his pocket and realized that as he extracted it, as it caught on his pocket, it opened the knife a little. So he did it again, pulled a little harder and opened a little more. And then he really pulled and bam, the knife completely deployed out using the little hook feature he put on there. And right as he figured that out, he got a call from the guys from that SEAL team saying, "Holy cow, man, do you realize what you did?" He's like, "It deploys out of the back. You pull it out of your pocket and the knife deploys by itself." And you know, he's like, "I know, it's crazy." And then the guys, of course, being Navy SEALs or any elite military unit, plus you can open a beer bottle with it. I have tried this. It does work quite well. Your knife can open your beer bottle without having to worry about breaking the tip of your knife. Fantastic story. And Ernie has told that story numerous times. You can see that on some YouTube videos out there interviewing him. I really think that's one of the coolest video stories about how a knife came in, how a feature came into creation. And so being that he was in California and it's like, you know, a surfing mecca here in the US, he aptly titled it the Wave feature. So that is how the Emerson Wave deployment came about. You know, I think both of these knives are just really, there's a whole bunch of versions. Every knife he does has it. You can get it with or without the wave. I just think the ergonomics on these are just absolutely fantastic. Even on the Mini Commander, it just really fits. I have a big hand. I can still get a full grip on that knife With the full-size Commander, I can get an even better grip on that knife. You do have jimping on the knife and on the back here. You do have it here, here. So you can actually, when you're here, you have something to grip onto with this finger. You don't have anything here, but the ergonomics of the knife handle really negate the need for the jimping, in my opinion. Like I said before, a well-designed and well-ergonomic blade that fits in your hand properly, you really don't need to have jimping on there to overcompensate for a poorly designed knife handle. And I think one of the coolest things about some knives is if you look at a lot of the Emerson designs, they're very classic knives. He hasn't really done anything too out of the box. And you know, with any good design, a good design will stand the test of time. A poor design winds up on the ground at a battlefield and no one wants the crap that's laying there. So that's why he sticks with very classic designs, very knives you've seen a lot of other people do knife styles with. That's why he uses them. I love the fact that he does recurved blades. I think recurved blades are fantastic. Let me zoom in here. We'll take a look at these recurves. I love a recurved blade because when you connect, right here, the main belly of the blade is what's going to be doing all the cutting. As it comes through, you're going to get much more cutting area coming through here without it catching and then having to pull the rest of that knife. So as it cuts through, you're going to have a nice cutting motion. So you're going to impact and you're going to turn and cut through. So you're actually going to get a much deeper cut with a recurve blade than you would with a standard straight edge blade, which I think one of the fantastic things about recurves. You can see the Mini Commander is a partially serrated. Not huge fan about with 50/50s, half serrated, half straight edge blades. You know, Emerson serrations are not bad. I mean, they definitely have some bite to them, and I think that is very useful. Like I said, when I can get a straight edge only, I'm going to go for the straight edge only blade, because I don't really see myself cutting a whole lot of rope or things like that where I'm going to need serrations. And if I do, I have a fully serrated blade that I can use for that, or I have some pretty stout scissors and other cutting implements that I would probably use before I would use my knife blade. You know, I'd rather not dull the ever-loving bejesus out of my knife if I can avoid it by using the proper tool for the proper task. Now, a lot of people get an Emerson knife and they flip it over and go, well, it's not sharp on this side. They forgot to grind this side. Well, no. Emerson does what's called, I believe it's called a wedge grind. Or what the hell is the proper term for it? Alright, so what I was looking for was chisel grind. As you can see on the back here, there is no grind. So you can see that. There's no grind on the back of the blade at all. The grind is only on the front one side of the blade. It's called a chisel grind. And there's a reason Emerson did that when he designed this knife, is that in the field, an operator can take this knife and put a serviceable edge on it by scratching it on blacktop or on a stone or something like that. And you can put a serviceable chisel grind on a knife with pretty much anything you have and then worry about sharpening it later. So there is a philosophy behind the chisel grind on Emerson knives. Now there are some people that don't like chisel grind. They say, oh, well, when you cut with it, you know, it cuts at an angle and it always goes to one side. Well, yeah, that's the style of the design. It's going to do that. So you kind of have to deal with that. You know, this knife was not designed for your everyday, you know, tasks, your everyday food prep, EDC, not uses. These were designed for the military special forces as combat fighting knives. And that's what he made when he designed his series. All his knives are combat fighting knives. They were not, you know, run-of-the-mill, mom and pop, everyday carry style. Now, I choose to carry knives like this because I believe a tactical knife is more valuable to me. A sexy knife is more valuable to me than a EDC everyday, you know, work knife. I have one of those. I carry those too. But when I go for my primary blade, I'm looking for something that I'm going to defend my life with if that's the only weapon I have available to me. And that's why I like more military style blades for my primaries. Now my backups, my secondaries, all kinds of craziness with those, you know, just, you know, very good knives. They're going to be very everyday EDC styled, hard use. I'm not going to worry about, you know, but when it comes to my primary, you know, fighting knife, my primary defensive weapon, I'm going to, you know, lean towards something that's a little bit more on the tactical side, or the sexy side, as you will. And that's where I think these knives are just absolutely amazing. The deployment alone makes it worth it. When we talk about price, Emerson Knives, he doesn't make a lot at one time. There's, you know, a small run of each one done at one time, then he moves on to the next run, is from what I understand. So you are going to pay a little bit more, you know. Also, we're using 154 cm, American steel. Being American steel, everything in these knives made in America. The screws made in America. The liners are cut here in America. The G10 is from American manufacturers. Everything about these knives is made right here, 100% in America by Americans. I like that. I'm willing to pay a little bit more. Full-size Commander, you're going to be around the $200 mark. Mini Commander, you're going to be around the $150 to $160 mark, depending on where you get it. You know, like I said, American made means you're going to pay a little bit more, but then again, you get American quality, which is, I think, one of the best things out there, is American quality and American ingenuity, American manufacturing. Yeah, I'm willing to pay more for made right here in my hometown, USA. You know, I think that's a big deal. I know a lot of guys out there don't like to buy non-American made blades. To a certain extent, I agree. I have lots of blades that were made overseas, and they're quality knives. But when I can, I will buy American made. I think it's important to support our country. I think it's important to support our economy in these economic times. And I think it's really important to support one another. There's a little life lesson for you right there. So, as always, Semper Fi. Have a good day.